Welcome back to the Community Voices. Now joining me, Rabbi Erin Polanski from the Beth Israel Congregation, Kingston. Hello, Erin.
Hi, Jimmy.
Yeah, welcome to the show and thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me first, how are you doing and how your family doing and how is the whole Jewish community is doing in Kingston?
I think for the most part, we're doing pretty well. We adapted pretty quickly to what we needed to do. We moved everything online almost immediately. And we're learning best practices and what people need from the synagogue and how we can best help them and reach them and keep everybody connected.
How this pandemic is impacted the whole Jewish community, include the synagogues and your family as a Jewish, spiritually?
Well, it's meant that we can't worship together, obviously, just like the other faith communities. So Passover came pretty much just a couple of weeks into this nationwide quarantine, and so we had to figure out how to adapt to that. Passover has several aspects to it. So there's a home-based aspect that's the major part of it. So luckily, that could still be observed, albeit differently. So usually, most families have a big Seder meal. It's a ritual meal, and usually with lots of extended family and friends. And so that part couldn't take place this year. People ended up having much smaller Seders with just their family or their household. And that meant for some people that they were alone. So we were able to connect by Zoom and other technology so that people could have Seders with their families or friends or even communal Seders. There were rabbis and other community leaders that held community Seders that people could join as well. So that was a big change. So when I heard from a lot of people how their Seders were, they loved it. They said, I got to have Seder with my cousin in Vancouver that I never, we haven't had Seder together for years since we were kids. So it also brought some opportunities, which was really nice. Unfortunately, because of the slowdown in the food chain, the delivery, that affected a lot of the Passover foods as well. So as people may know, there's a lot of dietary requirements and restrictions at Passover, which requires some specialty foods. And one of our local grocery stores was great, and they were all ready and had this big order, and they were going to bring it in for us. And then because of these difficulties in delivery systems, most of it didn't come in. So we had to be creative and make do, but mostly, I think it was fine. It was manageable, and we also just had to say in some cases, look, it's going to be different this year, and we're just going to do our best. And if you can't do everything like you normally do it, that's okay. We just need to mark this ritual in some meaningful way and hold ourselves to a different standard this year because the world is different this year.
Very good attitudes. I think that's a very, very positive thinking to do this. In the crisis, we're all together, and then I think together we will be able to overcome with it positively. What is the other, many other ways is affecting the congregation, the need, and the people's, especially the seniors in the Jewish community? I know like a Muslim, you guys have a lot of restriction with the foods and like a kosher food and stuff like that. But in this pandemic, when a lot of grocery stores was not getting supply and people not able to go directly and buy themselves. So how the whole community was keeping it up and how it was affecting the needs of the people religiously and the needs of the synagogue financially and religiously?
Well, we mobilized a group of volunteers pretty early on to call everybody in the congregation and check in with them and make sure that everybody had what they needed. And those in higher risk groups like seniors or those with health issues, we encourage them and we continue to encourage them to tell us what they need so that our volunteers can do their shopping and deliver it for them. And there were some people that did take us up on that offer and continue to do so. So I'm really glad about that. When it's a hard thing to ask for help, or to accept help,
Mhm.
but it's also a Jewish value to give help. So I like to reframe it and sort of say to those who need help that they are giving an opportunity to others to perform a mitzvah, to fulfill a commandment of helping. So both are helping each other in that regard. So we do have several seniors who are alone. They live alone, and we've made an extra concerted effort to keep in touch with them and to keep reaching out and make sure that loneliness does not become a major factor in their lives. Luckily, most of them are able to get on the computer and connect to our classes and our services as well. So I think that's really helped. In fact, in some cases, we've seen them more often than usual because it's so much easier to click and link to the service when you have
Yeah, they don't have
mobility
to travel. They
issues.
don't have to travel. They don't have to
That's
walk, or they don't have to drive to the synagogue. So it's
exactly right.
basically every house has become synagogue these days.
That's a beautiful way to say it. And actually, there's a Jewish expression that your house it's what's called a mikdash ma'at, a small temple.
Mhm.
So when we sit at our table, at our holiday tables or our Sabbath tables, and we say our blessings, it is as if we are in a small temple. So that's exactly
Maybe we can call the every house is house of God now. In
right.
every
Then everybody's
religion,
going to want a
in every
tax
religion,
deduction.
in every religion. Because
Right.
we are all same in the same situation as a Muslim, the Christian, the Jewish, the
Yeah.
Hindus. Everybody is in the same. Erin, we was not prepared for this type of pandemic or the crisis, and suddenly it was imposed on us, or it just came. When you heard first time about this and the implication of this, especially the quarantine, the restrictions when came in, what was your reaction, or what the reaction you heard from the people who used to come every day, or maybe twice a week or once a week, when they heard that they will not be able to go at all for next 14 days or month or 2 months? What was the reaction you witnessed?
Yeah, I think once reality set in and once we realized how serious this was and that we needed to physically distance, everybody was right on board. Um, People's safety and health is paramount in Jewish tradition. And so whatever we can do to save a life, that's what we do. So it was never a question of whether we could stretch the rules or, um, find ways around policies or whatever. It was always what is in the best interest of the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had no pushback on that.
Yeah. Is that Jewish community has adopted the new way of living?
I think we haven't had a choice. This is everybody's new way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've definitely adapted to it. Our congregation at the beginning, before we realized just how long this would go on for, we didn't have services online. We had classes online, and we would mark the end of the Sabbath together online. But we didn't have Sabbath services. And now, as this has taken longer, and we're realizing this could be the long haul. We might not be together again this year physically. So we have now moved our Sabbath services online as well. Desperate times call for new innovations and new ways of looking at things. So that's the way that we've chosen to go for now.
What is the plan Synagogue has in place if this crisis is prolonging or going a little bit more than we can expect, or we've been expecting it or thinking it?
Well, we're developing our plan right now. As you know, our High Holy Day season is in the fall. It's mid-September this year. So that's a really big event and important time that the community needs to be together. If we can't be together in person, we're going to have to move everything online. And we're looking at different options of how best to do that. Our cantorial soloist, our music leader, lives in Sweden. So we're hoping that he can be here physically to lead our services even on computer, but we might be patching him in from Sweden. So we're figuring that out right now. But
It sounds like you are all have a plan and you all ready to adopt anything upcoming probably. Hopefully is not
absolutely.
that not the case. We have to stay positive.
Yeah, we have to do what we have to do, but that's the history of our people, that we've always had to adapt to different situations, different places of living, different laws that might be imposed on us, different ways of acquiring kosher foods or performing rituals or whatever. Some of those things are even still reflected in some of our ritual ceremonies. So we learn from it and we take it forward with us. And even after things go back to normal, we may want to continue doing some of the things that we're doing now. Like I said before, we've been able to connect seniors to programs that they couldn't come to physically before.
COVID-19 has many negative impact in our daily life routines. But I believe something should be positive also we are learning or we witnessing from these crises. If I ask you pick one positive impact, what can be?
We've seen how people genuinely care about one another. And especially here in Canada, we are seeing people step up and put their own needs aside for the sake of the greater good.
That's true.
And that's a beautiful thing, and it's something that we should not take for granted.
And then I think we should continue that, taking care of each other and keep eyes on each other, helping each other.
That's the only way forward. That's what makes a community thrive.
Well, through this program today, I want to thank you and congratulate you for taking the extra measures on the Passover holidays. I saw your video that advising the community to keep the social distance and stay home, and that was a wonderful message, and it's a good start and being an example for the other communities. But thank you very much. I think we have a good conversation, and thank you for joining me. It was very nice to have you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Nice to see you, even on a screen.
Yeah, looking forward to see you after this planning was something positive we have learned from here. And you have a good night and stay safe. And please continue what you are doing for the community. That's it for this show. Until the next show, please take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, stay home, stay safe.